Welcome, everybody, to this live stream. I just realized I did not turn on my light the way I want my light turned on. Now that's much better. And my chair got a little too high. There we go. So, getting settled in. Happy Saturday, everybody. We are going to do the first spread is going to be our best manifestation advice over the next 24 hours. So be thinking about what you want to manifest, even if you're catching this video after it's done being recorded. Spirit is not limited by time or space, so you can still get your energy in on this spread. So be thinking about what is it you would like to manifest. I know I've got a couple of things in mind. I'm teaching a class a little bit later today. Some other things going on in my world. So we'll see what kind of manifestation advice comes up for us today. Right now, I'm just clearing the cards, getting them ready. I like to have them nice and clear. And then we'll do some private readings for people who show up in the room, assuming there will be people showing up in the room. The weather's pretty good today. There may not be anybody. It's a weekend. People may be out. We'll see what happens. We'll get best manifestation advice one way or the other. All right, let me clear my clarifiers real quick. This deck is not as big, so it won't take quite as long. And then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll. I hope everybody's doing good on this Thanksgiving Day weekend. Thanksgiving can be a little stressful sometimes, especially on election years. Any year, but election year just kind of adds to that, doesn't it? All right, let's take a peek. What is our best manifestation advice for today? This advice is good over the next 24 hours, maybe longer. Depends when you find this video, I guess. All right, best manifestation advice for the next 24 hours. Anybody who's in here, feel free to say hi. Let me know you're here before you kick your feet up on the coffee table. That would be great. So whatever you're trying to manifest, be focused on it. Be focused on it. All right, so what do we have? We start off with the Four of Pentacles as our first bit of advice. First bit of advice is kind of to hold back, be conservative in our spending. Maybe even hold back on some of our emotions. We may not want to just let everything out. If we're totally triggered and angry, we might want to hold that back a little bit. Appropriateness, hold back. So hold back on finances, hold back on emotions, depending on what it is you're trying to manifest. This isn't the time to be just throwing those around right now. Hello there, Jen. Welcome. Yay. All right, so let's see. Next, we have the Ace of Cups coming up in reverse. Ace of Cups in reverse just basically says somebody's showing us their true colors. So this is why it's time to hold back on whatever this is we're thinking of sharing or spreading or whatever, whether it's finances or feelings. Somebody is going to be showing us our true colors if we hold back. We get to see their real character. And the Page of Swords in reverse just talks about, investigate what shows up as far as their true character. Like, don't just sweep it under the rug, but take it seriously. Think about what they're showing us so that we can figure out, where do we go from here? All right. So that's our manifestation advice. Hold back a little bit. Let somebody show us who they really are. And then take the time to really dig in and think about what are the implications of their actions. What does that actually mean? So that we can respond to this other person or to this situation appropriately. All right, so let's see. It looks like we've got a couple people in the room. Anybody who wants a reading, just put your name in the chat. And then if you want a message from Spirit, type in message from Spirit. If you have a specific question, please put the question in. We've got a little, my phone is going to be going crazy a little bit here because My family is having a big group chat about Christmas and where Christmas will be. Message for Jen. Okay. There we go. Message for Jen. Everybody else, be on the lookout for a piggyback reading. Anybody else who wants me to read for them, please put your first name only, and whatever your question is in the chat. Or if you just want a message from Sacred Spirit and see what Sacred Spirit wants to talk to you about, just put message from Spirit in the chat behind your name. Da 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 da. All right. I think this gets things done faster. We get to help more people like this. Okay, what do we have showing up here? We have, first of all, the King of Wands coming up in reverse, covered by the Justice card. I'm hearing the word karma. When I look at this Justice card, King of Wands coming up in reverse is somebody who normally they're very social and outgoing, think outside the box, but when they're in reverse, they can have a problem they don't know what to do with. Sometimes they have power that they're a little bit abusive of. Sometimes it's physical power with the wands, so they could be like very physically abusive sometimes, not always. But we do have somebody that is using some kind of they have a problem they don't know what to do with, and I just feel like there's some kind of power that's been taken advantage of, shall we say. All right. And with the Justice card covering, this basically says that this person is receiving some karma. So wherever they abuse their power or their strength, there's karma that's coming in for that now. That's interesting. That's not the normal kind of reading I typically got. Let's see what we have coming up here for best advice or insight or heads up. By the way, I don't feel like this is you, Jen, at all. Someone in your sphere of influence. So, insight or heads up, we have the Knight of Cups. Oh, goodness. Looking at this card in the camera, I am reminded of it's a saying in the Bible. I have no idea what chapter and verse anymore, but it's later on. It's more in the back third of the Bible, and it talks about the idea of when you're good to your enemy, you heap coals upon them, because basically it talks about this idea of spirit taking the revenge. So if you're good to them, spirit actually takes the revenge in a bigger way. So, and when I was holding up this card, first of all, I'm thinking, well, that's the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is doing kind things, for this other person, kind and compassionate things for this other person. But then I heard, remember the heaping coals. So this person may not have been so nice to you as a person, Jen. Now they're getting their karma. Part of the reason they're getting their karma was because you have maintained your standards of behavior in spite of whatever their standards are. And then we have the Eight of Swords, which talks about even as you've been maintaining your high standards of behavior, you've been kind of thinking like, is this really what I want to do? Is this really the best way for me to handle that? Nine of Cups comes up in reverse. This is interesting to me. This is so interesting to me. Nine of Cups comes up in reverse because this says, wow. I think once this karma has been played out, I think you may feel sorry for the other person. Okay. So if you don't know who this is yet, this may be coming up. This may be coming up. So basically, let's summarize this. You have somebody who's been a little bit controlling or abusive of whatever their power is, whether it's physical power, which is kind of the typical, or some other kind of power that they had over you. And they're getting their karma now. Part of the reason why they're getting the amount of karma that they're getting is because you kept to your standards of being nice to this person in spite of how they were behaving. Even though you were kind of thinking and second guessing, should I even be nice to this person? Should I even be talking to this person? And I think you're gonna end up feeling sorry for this person with that 9 of Cups in reverse because the karma is gonna be kind of overwhelming. And if you have not seen that yet, you will. It's crazy. It really makes me think of it really makes me think of after my first divorce. Um, yeah, there was just a lot there that went down that was ugly, right? There was a lot there that went down that was ugly, and, boy, I don't have to talk about all of that, but there was some stuff that happened to my first husband within a month of when we got divorced that was just like, "Oh my god, I feel so bad for you." Like, genuinely, I felt bad for him. So, that's what that whole scenario is how that's playing out in my mind as I'm looking at these cards, like, that's what Spirit's nudging in. Because trust me, I don't think about this stuff that much anymore. Um, so I think that's yeah, I think it's something in that area. Yep. Alright, let's see. Is there anybody else in the room that needs a reading? YouTube's telling me there's only one person here, but YouTube is not always completely honest. So if you would like to have a reading, please put your first name in the chat and then put your question or if you want a message from Spirit, put that behind your name. Either way. Or if your name is in your title here, then that's cool too. I'll give a couple minutes. Couple minutes just for delay and see. I have a class today a little bit later. I'm very excited. Okay, let's do a message for Andrew. Let's see what shows up. Message for Andrew. Do, 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 do. Okay. So let's look at this situation. We're starting off with the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles talks about collaborating or working together with somebody. This can be in your personal life, can easily be in your business life as well, working on some kind of collaborative project or even employer-employee relationship type of thing. Two of Wands coming up in reverse. This says to me that you feel like you need to work in this collaboration. You actually do have a choice, but you don't feel like you have a choice about moving forward with this collaboration and working in it. Okay, so that's our situation. Spirit wants to talk to you about. Eight of Pentacles tells me that, this can be definitely about work. This is my card that the key word is actually work whenever I look at it. I have seen it, like if it's in the personal life, this talks about working things out. But really, I more often see it when it actually comes to literal work. This is doing that work and doing it with care and maybe even doing it in a way that only you can do it if your situation allows for that. And I don't remember your exact work situation. You'll have to forgive me that I don't have exact context to put around that, but I'm sure you can find the place for it. Now, we have the Two of Cups that comes up behind that, which tells me that this work, even though you don't really feel like you have a choice about whether you join in with this collaboration or not, whatever this work is, it's really attractive to you. You're getting a lot out of it. You're enjoying it. It feels good. Now, we have the Two of Swords coming up after that. Two of Swords after that just means that this work and how you feel about this work is going to be triggering you to make a decision. And I feel like that decision, even though I don't have cards after, I'm going to tell you, I feel like that decision has to do with, you know, um, what direction you want to go and work from this point forward. And it may be, well, maybe this collaboration, maybe this contractor or client or whatever, maybe this collaboration was really good and you want to do more work with that party. Or it could be that, maybe the type of work was a little bit different. So you learned a lot from whatever this new type of work was. So maybe you're deciding you want to do more of that. But this is a positive experience, even though maybe you weren't expecting it to be. And this allows you to make some decisions going forward because of that positive experience. So I hope you know what that is. Hope you do. My goodness, I better make sure this is all my family stuff. Oh, we've got another group going too. All right, yay. You're quite welcome, quite welcome. All right, anybody else in the room that needs a reading, please put your first name in the chat and follow that up with your question or follow that up with message from Spirit, one or the other. And I'll be happy to read for you real quick before I take off. Yep. That's what I'm seeing. It should be somebody else that wants a reading now. Unless they're just a looky-loo. And the other thing I always forget about too with YouTube is sometimes people are watching from their TVs, so then they can't interact. All they can do is be looky-loos. All right. So just giving you a little bit of time because I know there's a delay. If you want a question, you need to have that typed into the chat behind your first name. And if you want a message from Spirit, you can type message from Spirit after your first name in the chat, and I'll be happy to read for you. Please excuse my phone. I've got a couple of group messages going right now, and I do kind of want to keep it on and keep an eye on it just in case. Just in case somebody wants a reading and they text me. Always good to pay attention to that stuff. I'm trying not to be too impatient, but I think we've had long enough for somebody to get their question into the chat. So it's time for me to take off. Oh, here we go. Chandni, hello, welcome back. I am fantastic, my friend. How are you? Do you want a reading today? You caught me just in time. I was about to hit the escape hatch. Glad you're good. Would you like a reading, my friend? Do you have a question for me or do you want a message from Spirit? Everybody wants a reading. Message from Spirit. Okay. Here we go then. Let's see what shows up. Piggyback message for anybody else that's still in the room. Keep your eye out. Message for Chandni. Chandni. Good night. Good night, Irene. It's a good day. By the way, guys, I do offer private readings. Well, Jen, I know you know that. I don't know if I've ever actually read for you privately, Chandni. But if you want one, you can check out my website in the description below this video. After I give you your message for today, though, don't leave yet. All right, so let's see what Spirit wants to talk to you about. We have an Eight of Cups coming up in reverse. Eight of Cups coming up in reverse just talks about this idea of walking back to a situation that you left previously, and you left it previously because it was leaving you drained or exhausted. All right, but you're walking back to it, so hopefully you're expecting things to be different or better this time. Oh, Nine of Wands is what's covering, and the Nine of Wands is in reverse. This says, I'm walking back to that situation that I left because it was making me feel drained or exhausted, and I wasn't really expecting to do this. This is maybe a spur of the moment thing or something completely unplanned. We'll say that. Completely unplanned. Oh, well, that would make sense. That would make sense. Okay. All right. Well, let's look at your best insight or advice around this. All right. Nine of Pentacles. This talks about you being single, independent, self-sufficient. Okay. My Nine of Pentacles really is my happy singles card. All right. So I don't know why you moved into your parents if you're getting away from some kind of relationship or guy or whatever. But if you are, this basically says, oof, good for you. Like, good thing that you are single. Like, this is a good thing. Okay. Now, I want to just clarify something. Is this is this her mom or is this her? Boo ba doo choo 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 boo ba doo choo choo boo ba doo choo choo. It's not you. Okay. All right. Oh, your mom is a trip. She is a trip. Your mom is showing up as the Empress in reverse. I don't think she's acting that much like what we would hope a mom would act like when we have to move back into the house. She may be like, "Well, you can come in, but, can you be out by tomorrow at noon?" I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it does look to me like it's kinda hard to be around your mom. It looks like her attitude, like, she manifests exactly the opposite of what she actually wants, which tells me that she probably has a pretty negative attitude, and that's kinda hard to be around whenever you're trying to get things back started for yourself again. We have the Ace of Wands showing up behind her in reverse. The Ace of Wands basically says, if you're not really careful about this situation, you can let your mom really steal all your energy. So, yes, you've moved back. You weren't really planning on it. Now mom has an attitude. Mom's probably always had an attitude, but now she's really got an attitude, and that can really steal your energy and your vibrancy if you let it. So it's gonna be really important to spend as little time with mom as possible so that you can safeguard your own energy, so you can have energy just to get up on your feet and do your own thing. Otherwise, she can really slow you down if you let her. But it's all up to you. It's all about how you react, how you respond to this situation and to the things that she says and the things that she does. Don't take it personally. Well, I don't think that is something that has changed. So, it's gonna be really important not to take the things that she says personally for you. If you've ever read The Four Agreements by Daniel Ruiz, I think it's Daniel, maybe not. But if you have not read that book, I would highly suggest reading it because, um, he really talks about some super important things that help with relationships with anybody in our life. And one of the keys that he really hits on is this idea of not taking things personally. Like if somebody says something to you about how they perceive you to be, a lot of times they are really talking to you about how they perceive themselves to be. So if you've got somebody who is telling you all these negative things, they're pretty much projecting onto you what they feel about themselves. And so it's not about you at all. Like they can't even see you. All they see is them when they look at you. And same thing, honestly, like when people say all kinds of wonderful stuff about you, like, then you also wanna not take that personally either because, once again, they're projecting how they feel about themselves onto you. So, do you really wanna take that personally, or do you wanna have your own ideas about who you are and what you're about? So both of those are important. It's a really good book. It's called The Four Agreements, and there were some books that came after. I never read the ones that came after. The Four Agreements changed my life. Right? Exactly. And if you're not in alignment with those things that she wants for you, then that can be trouble. If there's anybody in the room that wants a reading, please say so before I take off here. But you're gonna have to tell me you want a reading. Hi, Layla. Welcome, welcome. How are you, my friend? And then some of the other things are, not only don't take things personally, but also be really authentic with your word. Like, say what you mean and mean what you say. Talks about, like, if you agree to things that you really don't wanna do, that you're betraying your own self. I mean, it's just a really good book. Layla and Cheryl. Hello, Cheryl. Okay, so Layla, do you want a message from spirit or do you have a question for me? Cheryl, message from spirit. We're gonna go ahead and start with yours because we know what you want. Woohoo! Happy Saturday, everybody. Thank you for all the thumbs ups. You are quite welcome, Shodney. And if you don't mind, please share this video out to other people so they can get a reading too. Message for you too, Layla? Okay. We're going to start with Cheryl's message. Everybody else be looking out to see if you get a piggyback message off of Cheryl's reading. Boop-a-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Okay. So you've got the Hierophant showing up here, and the Hierophant just basically says that there's some kind of contract or agreement or commitment that you are not about to sign. Or if you have signed it, you're going to find some kind of way to rip that thing up if you can. This contract or agreement, I think, has to do with some kind of payment plan with the Six of Pentacles. This talks about, this could even talk about somebody paying you. Because for me, the Six of Pentacles right side up talks about somebody making things even with us. So this could be that somebody, maybe you're loaning somebody some money, you're thinking about it, and then they would be paying you. That could be what's going on here. This Hierophant, though, basically says, don't do it, man. Says we went out of that contract or agreement. Let's look at our best advice. Where are our heads up here? Boop-a-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right. So, Queen of Cups talks about the idea of being very empathic, being nurturing, being helpful, being understanding, especially when it comes to emotional type stuff. Okay, so really being there for a person emotionally. The Queen of Cups is a really good friend. She's a very loyal friend, and she's helpful in the ways that she can be helpful, which has to do with emotions. Now, we also have the Queen of Pentacles, which talks about somebody who's pretty secure and stable in their financial situation. Also talks about somebody who's pretty laid back and unflappable. So when we have the Queen of Pentacles, this is not the same as giving somebody a gift. The Queen of Pentacles is, I'm here to support you in ways that are healthy, but I am not about to make you dependent on me. So, would you give somebody, like, if this was your advice, would you give somebody money to just get by on, or would you give somebody money to start doing something that's gonna bring in more money for themselves so that they don't have to come back to you or anybody else for money later? This is not codependence type stuff. This is very helpful generosity. And it's also the Queen of Coins is also, before I put this card down, she's someone who's very realistic and grounded, and she knows exactly how much she can part with and still be okay in her life. And she's not going to put herself into a precarious situation. So we have the Queen of Cups combined with the Queen of Pentacles. As far as your advice, this advice says help where you can, but don't overdo it, and don't let them become dependent on you, and also don't put yourself in a bad spot. But it's okay to be empathetic and say, wow, that looks like a terrible situation. Here, I can give you this much to at least help you with whatever this little bit is. But this is not like my come in and rescue somebody energy at all. At all. And then my world card coming up at the end, my world card talks about the end of a cycle, but it also talks about the ideal. Like when somebody has decided they really want to marry a certain person and we ask how they're feeling about that person, this card comes up. This person is my ideal partner, my ideal match. All right. So this talks about the ideal. This just basically says that everything we talked about with that Queen of Cups and that Queen of Pentacles, that's the ideal way to handle this situation. where I think somebody probably wants to borrow money from you, and it's not ideal to actually give the loan. It's ideal to help with whatever you can, but not make them dependent on you. I kind of have the sense here with this that if you give somebody the loan, they may think that, well, she doesn't really need that money back, and they may not actually pay you back. So don't even do the loan. Give what you can afford to give and be done with that. That's the ideal there. Okay, Layla is up next. I hope that makes sense for you. Miss Cheryl. Layla. Oh, my coffee's getting cold. Okay, Layla, message from Spirit. Everybody else be looking out for a piggyback message. You're quite welcome. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Layla. Don't forget to put a thumbs up on this video, and if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can see how to do that in the description box if you check out the website there. All my contact information is on that website. You can also sign up for my newsletter there where you get predictions for every sign every week. At least as much as I can. I am not a machine, but usually. All right. You're quite welcome, Miss Cheryl. Not in a position to loan, but would support emotionally. Interesting. You definitely are in a position to share something with that Queen of Pentacles too. Maybe not alone, but you've got something that you can share. My Queen of Pentacles is somebody who she's very stable and secure in what she has. Plus, she has enough to share with other people. A lot of times you'll see a Queen of Pentacles come up in a spread as like the hostess of something. Maybe she has people over for dinner, or maybe she plans something like a corporate event or something. But she is sharing the good that she has, or the good that she has access to, one way or the other. We see her sharing the good that she has with others around her. So you could be having somebody over for dinner. It could be that somebody is going to college and you're saying, well, I can't really loan you money like for boarding while you're at college, but I can pay for your books, anything like that. And maybe that's kind of an out of season example, but you get the idea. And it doesn't even have to be that big of a gift, but still something that lets you know that you're supporting them emotionally as well as tangibly. Boop, ba, ba, da, 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 da. Layla. Okay, Layla, you've got the Seven of Swords showing up in reverse. Seven of Swords in reverse says that there's a situation that you got out of, and you got out of it on the down low. Tried not to make any drama about it. Tried not to burn any bridges when you left, but out. Now, look at this. Well, let's back up. Let's finish this card. So now this card's coming up in reverse. Now this says you're trying to get back into that situation, also on the down low, without making a big dramatic thing of it. Basically hoping nobody really noticed that you left to start with. That's covered by the Chariot, which tells me that whatever this situation is that you're trying to get back into, I think you're trying to get back into it quickly. And it may be some kind of partnership. Personal, business, friendship, some kind of partnership. Ship. Now, looking at best advice or heads up. Holy Toledo, look at this. Hermit card in reverse. This basically says that you have been away from this situation for a while, and now you're ready to come back into it. That's all the Hermit card says. It says, I have thought about this, reconsidered this. I have figured out what I want, what my priorities are, and now I'm back to move forward with that situation. Now, Six of Cups in reverse says that whatever this situation is that you've been rethinking and that you left without burning any bridges and now you're trying to get back into, there were some things that went down that were not too pretty. There's some bad memories there. It's not really cool. And we have the Strength card coming up in reverse. And the Strength card coming up in reverse says, my self-esteem is not doing too well with the idea of going back into this situation. I mean, I really don't know what to tell you. I would love to do like a 30-minute reading and really look at this situation for you because look at this. You are very determined to get back into that situation and to get back into it as quickly as you can, even though you felt the need to leave it without burning bridges before. But why? Why? There's bad memories there. Your self-esteem didn't do very well there. I mean, you have thought about why, but this makes me a little bit nervous for you. If I got these cards from me, I would really be looking into my subconscious. What the heck is going on, Amista? Where have you missed a connection? That's what I would be asking myself. Because why would you want to get back into a situation where there's bad memories, where it hurt your self-esteem? And especially after thinking this over, why would you want to come back into that? Are there not other alternatives? And I think in the reading, I would be like, okay, what are the other alternatives? Is there a better solution for whatever the situation is that Layla's trying to deal with? I would love to just pick this apart and make it make sense, basically, or else find something that does make sense around this situation. So I never really tell people I would love to read on this, and you really need a reading. Like, that's not my MO, but man, I would love to read about this and find a direction for you that would be more healthy for your psyche, just to start with. Anyway, if you need a reading with me, you know how to get a hold of me. Anybody else in the room that needs a reading, say so now or forever hold your peace. Oh yeah, that's cold. By the way, guys, don't forget to put thumbs up if you haven't already, if you found this video beneficial. Thank you, Miss Cheryl. All right, I guess that I've read for everybody in the room already, so it's time for me to get out of here and find some other place that I can go bring some clarity. I am teaching a tarot class this afternoon, so I guess I should actually start getting ready for that. Everyone have a fantastic day. Peace out.